Hi, my name's Richard Felix and I'm in Gloucestershire. But I swear to you, when I came down here a few minutes ago, as I got to that entrance, I heard a child's voice.
We have to get permission to go in here.
Right?
Is there anyone here?
Apparently, the ghost of a young child still wanders around the cell block area day and night. Spooky.
As soon as you shut the door, the back wall of the theatre fell down.
Don't know how long I've been waiting to do this.
Okay, well, be prepared.
Great. You sleep well. Don't have nightmares. Hi, my name's Richard Felix and I'm in Gloucestershire. Behind me, Gloucester Cathedral. Most incredible cathedral I've ever been into in the whole of my life. I've got some fantastic ghost stories to tell you, and to help me do it, I've enlisted the help of the Gloucestershire Paranormal Research Group, who are going to meet me at Woodchester Mansion. But before we go there, I just need to tell you a little story about Gloucester Cathedral. Inside is the tomb of the murdered King Edward II. He was horrendously murdered at Berkeley Castle, and I'm being allowed into the actual murder room in Berkeley Castle where the king died. His body was then brought here to Gloucester. The abbots of Malmesbury, the abbots of Bristol would not allow the king's body to be buried there, but Abbot Thosley at Gloucester allowed the king to be brought here. After that, so many pilgrims came here to Gloucester that eventually the abbey grew so much where the other two abbeys declined, and eventually, after the Reformation, this became Gloucester Cathedral. What I want you to do now is, you've heard it all before, settle back, turn down those lights, give me your full attention, and let me take you on a tour of haunted Gloucestershire. Behind me is Woodchester Mansion. This is probably the most haunted property in Gloucestershire. Essex has its Borley Rectory. Gloucestershire has this incredible place here. With me is Chris and David from the Gloucestershire Paranormal Research Group. Got it right?
That's correct, yes.
They've given up their day to actually take me round some of the spookiest spots of Gloucestershire, because at the end of the day, you gentlemen know far more about the haunted locations of Gloucestershire than I do. This is your county.
That's correct, born and bred, both of us in Gloucestershire.
So I appreciate very much that you've given up a day to do this, but I don't think we should be talking out here anymore, because I want to get back inside Woodchester Mansion. So come on, chaps, let's go in.
Okay.
So Chris, to be quite honest with you, this house was never finished.
No.
So we're talking of an empty shell that is reputedly very haunted.
Yes.
But why should a house that's not been lived in be haunted?
Well, there's several mysteries to this place. You're right, it was never finished. There's a theory that a builder was either murdered or had an accident. We don't know which. So, trauma, we've got the possibility of a haunting stemming from
I mean, all the tools are left literally as someone just one day down tools and fled the building.
Yes.
Is the rumour, if you like, that's been spread. Is that the fact, or is it the fact that William Lee ran out of money?
I think the fact is William Lee ran out of money, so the builders were told that they would be coming back at a later date, and left the tools.
Yes.
But if you, again, there's mystery there because the tools would have been the livelihood of the builders
Why
at
didn't they
that
come
time.
back for them when they didn't
Yeah, well,
re-employ them?
exactly. So, again, you've got that mystery there. But the other thing, of course, we don't know is, did William Lee actually have the tools brought in especially for the job of this
For a
scale?
huge project, yes.
So it's mystery after mystery. There's no definitive answer to what
Really?
actually went on.
So strange, because, I mean, it is one of the must-do locations in Gloucestershire as regards hauntings.
It's a focal point for paranormal groups in Gloucestershire and, well, but from all across the country. We get groups coming weekend after weekend.
Yeah. There was a place, of course, there was a Roman settlement sort of 200 years before the Romans became Christian on this site.
Yeah.
Woodchester Park, of course, was Roman, wasn't it?
Woodchester Park was Roman, so I mean you've had settlements of people here back through Roman times.
Yeah.
Actual buildings on the site of Woodchester Mansion, the previous building was a Georgian house owned by the Ducey family, Sir Robert Ducey, Spring Park.
Yes.
So again, we don't know, there's rumour of a murder in the cellar dating back to Spring Park times, so we don't know again. Trauma, is there a haunting to do with the...
Yeah,
the
there have been
Spring Park
Roman centurions seen wandering around the area on the pathway down to this place.
Yes.
It's strange. It's something that no one seems to be able to get to the bottom of what this place really holds for some reason.
No, I do believe the building is haunted,
Yeah.
but by what or who is the mystery. There's several theories as to who actually haunts the place. One of them is even that William Lee himself is here, his soul at unrest because the building isn't finished.
Of course, yeah.
So we can go along with that theory. He's been seen by several people,
Really?
mediums who come here pick up on a William Lee, but they also say that James, the murdered or the builder who fell to his death, his spirit masquerades as William Lee.
Really?
So we've got a conflict there. Is it James or is it William Lee? We don't know.
Yeah. But the only original part of the old Georgian house is the cellars.
It's the cellar, yes.
And that is supposed to be as haunted as anywhere.
It is. There's a lot of activity that goes on in the cellar.
Shall we go and have a look?
It's a good idea.
Lead on. Right, so obviously this is the entrance
Entrance to the cellar.
to the
yes.
cellars. Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it? Now down here this is the only real original part of the old house, the Georgian house.
That's right. This is the only surviving part of Spring Park.
Yeah.
Before William Lee had it ripped down and Woodchester Mansion put on top.
Yeah. Now, of course, being cellars, they are obviously notorious for everyone being frightened of them and being haunted.
That's right. They're cold and dark places.
Especially this room in here, of course.
And this room as well, which we call the vaulted room.
Yeah. Isn't it marvellous?
It's a fantastic room. Can you notice the smell?
Oh yeah.
The camphor type smell. Reginald Kelly was a field scientist who discovered the rare species of bat that inhabit the mansion in 1945. It's thanks to Reg Kelly that the building is still standing. If he hadn't discovered the bat living here, he wouldn't have set up his field study centre and kept the mansion free from rain and further deterioration. So the smell that we've got is because this is where Reg Kelly used as his laboratory. So you've still got his chemicals
Still
that you can
smell
smell
this day?
today.
Well, I never. And is it haunted down here?
This room's notorious for a stone thrower.
Right.
Countless groups have experienced it. You can be sat in the dark and all of a sudden you'll get a stone fly across the room. And I've been here with several groups and experienced it. You hear a stone flying across the room. You're looking through night vision camera and it's coming from a direction where nobody's stood. You can have a group sat the one side and you'll hear the stone come across from
And
the opposite side.
we are talking of actual footage of people have actually caught stones.
People have got footage of this on camcorder, yeah.
And there's no one at the other end throwing it or anything like that?
No, there isn't, no.
Wow.
So there is phenomena that goes on in this room. What causes it, we don't know. It's an old building. Could it be falling masonry? You've got to look at that aspect of it as well.
Oh yeah, but they don't fly horizontally, do they, across a room?
No, they don't, no.
So, is there something? Who knows?
Quite possibly.
This is the magnificent chapel.
That's right.
You actually caught a light anomaly in this room, did you?
We did, yeah. It's a magnificent chapel. It was the largest private chapel ever built in its time.
And of course it was a Catholic chapel, wasn't it?
Catholic, yeah.
Because there were Catholic
That's
family
right.
here. The Lees
Yes.
were Catholics.
They were.
Augustus Pugin, of course, who designed part of the building, was a staunch Catholic.
Yes.
Hundreds of Catholic churches. And they also had a Catholic archbishop actually visit the place, didn't they, apparently,
That's right.
even though it wasn't finished.
It is interesting that Catholic ladies who enter the building don't feel threatened in any way, shape or form.
There you go.
So that's another interesting piece of phenomena.
Too right. So what did you see in here?
Well, here we had a locked-off camera set up for the night, just gazing down through the corridor, just to see if we capture anything. On review of the footage, we did actually capture what appears to be a hooded figure. Starts off as a ball of light on the floor, moves along into a hooded figure shape, and then just disappears behind the scaffolding
Down
that's
that way?
used for used for the renovation that's going on. The theory we thought at the time was torchlight. We could account for where people were that evening, so we knew that there were people around and about, and whether it was torchlight coming in through some of the broken glass, causing the light anomaly, we didn't know. So we did come back down the following week, set the CCTV up in the same location with an array of torches. We were climbing into orifices, anywhere we shouldn't be.
Trying to make it happen again.
Tried to get it happen. We couldn't get anywhere close. So we still don't know.
But there's a possibility then you could have captured a ghost on film.
It's a possibility.
Ooh, fantastic. Now there's something else happened down that corridor there, isn't
There was, right at the end of the corridor. The stone throwing is famous in Woodchester. We've heard stones being thrown countless times, but as you can see, it's in a state of
the stones
repair. You've got bats flying around, you get mice, rats we've seen on occasions. They can dislodge things. You can get stones, sticks being thrown around the place, and in the dark you don't know where they're coming from. One night last year, three of us were out on a cigarette break. As we were coming back in, we come to the top of the corridor and a stone came out at this height, off the ground, horizontally with some force, and landed at our feet. This was witnessed by three of us. Unfortunately, you've never got a camera with you at the time. No. But that's a big rat to throw a stone at that with that force.
And let's be quite honest with you, you are a paranormal research group.
That's right.
You're not trying to entertain people.
We're not entertaining ourselves.
You're trying to find evidence. You are not going to throw stones yourselves.
No. And I mean, the first thing we did, we know the only person outside the group on site is Andy, the caretaker. We come running down, we checked the rooms off the side of the corridor to see if Andy was having a joke with us, but there was nobody about, and we did question Andy later on, and he, hand on heart, he wasn't anywhere near us. And there was nobody there. I mean, they would have had to have been in this section to have thrown the stone at that end anyway.
Quite impressive. Chris, you've seen a ghost here.
I have.
In this corridor in Woodchester Mansion.
The only time I've ever seen an apparition in 5 years of investigation was here, on this very corridor. I had a group of 7 as an investigation group just before Christmas in 2005. I sensed something walk in, like a shadowy presence.
From the stairs there?
From the stairs. It was, whether it was a cold draft of wind, I don't know. I just had this feeling that somebody had walked in. So I said to the group, I think we've got something. Let's call out, see if we can get any response. I stepped forward and leant against the wall just here, trying to call out to this spirit. with that, a grey shape, solid, but just grey solid smoke in the shape of a person, stepped through that gap, which made me jump for two reasons. One, I'd seen a ghost, and two, as you can see, there's no floor. There's nowhere for anybody to walk.
No, it went through here.
It come through. With that, I staggered back, and that's when things got strange. It was as if an energy had pushed itself through my back, and I was no longer in my body. We've all seen Derek Acora on the television go into trance. I used to ridicule, as a lot of other people did. Here he goes again. But that did change my perception, because I'd had this experience and I just cannot rationalise what happened. I was stood there shouting in a deep voice, get out to everybody. I played the tape back to my wife and family, and they've said, well, who's that speaking? I said, that's me. They said, well, that's not your voice. Well, I can't explain it. Eventually, my colleague working with me in the group that night, he started shouting the same thing back at me. I thought he'd then been attacked, and suddenly I snapped back into reality. And I felt the energy come and try again. With that, I just said, okay, we've had enough, we're off. So we left the location. But I must admit, that's the strangest thing that's ever happened to me in 5 years. It's the one and only time I did nearly pack the whole thing in. It did scare me.
I mean, you actually said that you went away from here, went to Tesco's.
That's right.
Bought a packet of cigarettes.
That's right.
And sat in the car and smoked the lot.
Until the sun came up. Before I go home, I was shaking like a leaf.
And you're a down-to-earth, rational sort of bloke.
I like to think I'm a rational person. I cannot explain what happened that night.
You see, I don't know whether you noticed when you mentioned this shape, I mean, starting to smile, it's exactly the same as I saw in Derby Jail. A grey, dense, smoky shape.
That's right.
As grey as grey.
Yeah.
Can't tell if it was male or female.
Yeah.
Looked like a ghost.
Your typical ghost.
Yeah. You've seen the same as me. Hail fellow, well met. I'm rather excited, to say the least. I'm standing in front of Berkeley Castle. With me is Tim Davis. I've been wanting to come here for years and years and years, and you very kindly allowing me in. And you're going to take me somewhere, to a room where very few people go to.
Yes, no one's allowed in there, so follow me and we're going to have a look.
Oh, come on, let's go.
Basically, we come in through the main door to the castle, past a murder hole, where there's all boiling oil and all sorts of things that come down on it.
Stuff that would come down, yes.
And the refinement here is, as you're charging up into the castle, all these steps are uneven. They're actually called trip steps. So, as you're running up here with high excitement to get into the castle, you're going to go flat on your face.
Footing and you trip over, and then everybody behind you goes.
And that gives a chance to the defenders to regroup a bit further. Yeah.
They actually feel strange as you're walking up and down.
Yep, they do. It's quite fun, especially with visitors.
Yeah, yes indeed.
So there we go. And then basically this is now going through here into Edward's cell.
That's it.
That's it. So it's totally separate from the rest of the building. Yeah. And guard here and the poor chap incarcerated in there.
For months, of course.
For months, yeah. Months and months.
Can we go in?
Of course we can.
Because this is not normally open.
It isn't, no. So mind the rope here.
Okay. You don't know how long I've been waiting to do this.
Okay, well, be prepared.
Great. Nobody realises what this means to me, because I tell the story of this room on every lecture tour that I've ever done.
Right.
It means so much. I mean, so Edward II was in here for 5 months?
18 months is a long old time, because basically he was imprisoned here, and the hope was that he would just die naturally, and that would solve all sorts of problems. Because the king at that time, of course, is appointed by lineage, and also God is involved with it.
Indeed.
So to murder a king was pretty horrendous, and especially at feudal times, very unsettled period. So just around the corner from us here, we've got the dungeon, which was originally stacked full of rotting corpses, animals. All the noxious fumes were designed to exactly make the king fall ill and die. And as he didn't, more drastic measures were taken. And depending on the stories, but the one which is generally accepted was the disembowelment with a red hot poker, and basically a hunting horn was inserted in his anus, and then a red hot poker inserted afterwards. Two reasons: one, poking fun at his probable homosexuality.
Indeed, yes.
And secondly, no marks on the body.
Correct.
So you could produce the body and say the king has died, and what a great tragedy. So that's the grim story of this room.
Of course, legend has it
Yeah.
that this room is haunted. But I've already asked you this once when we were discussing it earlier, and I said to you, is it haunted in here?
No one really knows. I mean, there's the stories of the screams every September, but no one really knows.
But the real reason that nobody knows is because people don't come into this
No.
room. That's right, isn't it?
That's right. The room is locked off. As you saw, we stepped over the rope to get in here.
Yes.
You've got the viewing gallery through there to the King's Gallery, which is where most of the visitors look through into this room. So, no, this room is pretty much shut off for 99.9% of the time. And
so nobody will know whether it's haunted or not. And unfortunately, I'm the wrong person at the moment, because I'm not psychic.
Yep.
It's broad daylight. I'm overexcited at being here, obviously. Sure. And I know the story, so I'm obviously, at this moment...
Your senses are all tuned in, perhaps
just a bit.
Excited way. So,
just a lot.
Yeah.
So nobody knows yet. So who knows? Who knows what we may find in the future? But, I mean, the story I have is what you've already mentioned, that on the anniversary, I think it's the 21st of September, that the screams of the king can be heard for a long way from the castle.
Sure. I mean, the original story is one of the sort of the guards overhearing the screams as it happened on the night turned white overnight, and there's stories of Berkeley Town, which is a few hundred yards away, could hear, and if that was the case, then there's an awful lot of stone and etc. for the screams to go through. And let's face it, it wouldn't have been a pleasant, quick death. It would have been absolutely excruciating.
In fact, the worst death that anybody could imagine. I would think. Yes. For a king, of course.
Indeed.
What I'm a great believer, of course, is in the stone tape theory. That perhaps not a ghost or a spirit of the king, but the residual energy, the recording of that terrible, tragic, traumatic death, the energy that must have been used in this room as he was dying, I think can cause the recording to be encapsulated in this building and replayed. Yeah. In the same way as you play button of a video player.
Well,
if you're tuned in, you hear it.
I mean, it would be fascinating to know what's going on in this room. Regardless of the murder, all the castle walls would have so many stories, happy and sad, and so it would be fantastic to unlock the secreds.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you so much for letting me
Pleasure.
in. It's been
no problem at all.
Great privilege for me, and I'd love to come back again.
Yep.
Thank you very much indeed.
No problem.
Thank you. Right, well, I've just come into the Berkeley Arms Hotel. We only came in for lunch. And guess what? It's haunted. I've just got talking to Nigel, who recognised me when I walked in, and he said, "Oh, this place is full of ghosts." So come on, Nigel, tell me all about it.
Full of spooks,
really?
Particularly on the first floor. Yeah.
You mentioned
lots
room 10,
of sightings.
Apparently.
Room 10 is extremely, a lot of the chambermaids have gone up there. Doors are slammed in their face and that sort of thing. But the first floor, a great deal of activity in the past. Like. The ladies' toilets. Ladies go in there to do their ablutions on the mirror, and they see a face, a Victorian lady, behind them, turn around,
in the mirror?
In the mirror, yeah, turn around, nobody there at all. I looked after the place overnight on the Christmas Eve, I believe it was, with some friends of mine.
Because you've lived here for 40 years.
40 years, yeah. I had to go to the place, did the cooking downstairs for dinner party, and the owners had a smashing golden retriever. I said, right, better get shaved and all the rest of it, have a shower upstairs. Went up to the first floor and the dog went completely loopy. His hackles were up, he started barking and barking and barking. I just kept on saying, come on Clyde, upstairs. He would not move. So I left him to it, came back down 25 minutes later and he was still there and he was still in the same position, looking to the end of the corridor to say, there's something there, and he would not move.
Staring at something that you couldn't see.
Absolutely. There's a feeling, and
as they do.
It was going down the back of my neck, I can assure you. It just didn't feel right. But then, appreciate it's a 10-bedroom house, 10-bedroom hotel.
Yeah.
On my own with a dog, but the way he reacted, there was something very sinister about it. It really was incredible.
Crikey.
And different other things, like one of the ex-landladies who I used to know years and years ago. A receptionist on her own in the afternoon, go upstairs, walked past the door, the ballroom, the door was open, and she thought, strange, a lady looking down over into the courtyard. And she just went to the end of the corridor, came back, disappeared and everything there. Never to be seen again. And she described who she was, and I can remember from 40 years back in 1966, I think it was, the same description of the person as the one I remembered who used to look after me a great deal. And
That was the landlady here?
Absolutely. She passed on about 30 years ago, yeah.
Now, you actually mentioned to me earlier that she was always the life and soul of the party. She ate, slept and drank this place, if you like, and loved it.
The major domo, basically. She was a force of energy, she really was. And her husband, who died, you know, about 15, 20 years afterwards, he's also been sighted in the lounge bar, in the lounge as you walk in, just by the fireplace. Just a quick glimpse of an old employee. She told me just, I could swear blind, I just saw, you know, this friend of mine.
Who was dead?
Yeah. But it just disappeared, that was it. She saw the outline. She said, Nigel, you know what you look like, you know the stature. It was him to a T. And, you know, it just makes you very, very unusual about it, you know? Yeah. All sorts of different things happened. Incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I presume that the fact that they love this place so much, that they've probably not moved on.
No,
they've probably still come and visit.
Yeah, they're still on the plane, basically.
Yes,
yeah.
indeed.
Because the warmth of it, you know, and, you know, it's a very...
So there's nothing sinister about this at
Oh,
all?
gosh, no,
Everything that's
no.
here is friendly?
But some of the staff, even now, the young girls, they don't like going upstairs on their own on the first floor, you know, at night time on their own. They just get a feeling it doesn't ring true for some reason. There have been maids dressed in Victorian outfits, that sort of thing, looking out the window, and that, you know, and that sort of just disappeared in thin air. It just, you know, that you can't define what's all about.
No, but of course this is a very, very old coaching inn, isn't it?
Absolutely.
A very haunted village, isn't it, I think?
Yeah. It used to be called the King's Head, I think, in the old days.
Really?
I mean, the history involved with it, you know, it goes back to the war for a long way.
Civil War, Cromwell, all of this.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it was a nunnery at one stage, I'm not quite sure about that, but...
So basically, if you're looking for a decent haunted hotel...
come to Bartley Arms Hotel,
come to this place.
Yeah.
Because this is the bee's knees. This is as haunted as you'll get.
Yeah.
I'm at Wootton Under Edge, and with me is John, who owns the Ancient Ram Inn. Now, in my opinion, this place, A, is one of the most historic places in the country, but also one of the most haunted. It is, isn't it, John? I mean, this is very haunted.
Yeah.
And do things happen to you all the time?
All the time, yes.
Really?
It's on a pagan burial ground. That's why there's children buried underneath this building.
Under that bit there, isn't it? Yeah. And it's also on ley lines, is it not?
Yes, across ley line.
Yeah. Energy.
Yeah.
Will you do me a whistle-stop tour of the building?
Certainly, if you like to come.
Come on then.
Are you sure you can take it?
Oh, I can take it, but I must tell you something. I don't know whether you know this. My wife came with me, who is the biggest sceptic you'll ever meet.
Is she here now?
No, but she came when we did Most Haunted here,
Right, yeah.
and she had to leave the building.
Is she?
And she's a sceptic. She felt so ill when she got halfway up your stairs,
Well,
she had to come downstairs and couldn't go back in.
this happens all the time.
Now then.
This is the only room that I live in.
Right.
The rest of it is so terribly haunted. I've got a job to, as ghost hunter can corroborate. I'm not making it up.
Oh, I realise
And
that.
it's such a cold building. I'm not allowed to have central heating because it's 1,000 years old. And English Heritage have said I must not have central heating. It would ruin all the timbers. Well, what happened to me last week? Well, here is where I sleep, on a settee.
Yeah.
The incubus, the sex demon, got in bed with me, and I was wrestling with it. And I'm a Christian.
Yes, indeed.
Always next to me is my Bible, and I had to call upon God to get rid of it.
Flipping heck. And
I mean,
did it leave you, John?
Yes.
Did it go?
Yes, it did.
Wow. Because, I mean, an incubus and succubus, they go back into, well, almost ancient mythology as well.
Yeah.
And they are, as John says, sort of sex demons. Incubus is a male,
Yeah.
and succubus is a female.
Well,
That's right, isn't
it gives me great comfort. When I came out of the RAF after the war, I was going to become a Methodist minister.
Really?
And I've learnt that John Wesley and his brother, who started the Methodist Church in Bristol,
Yeah.
was plagued the same as I am. Incubus and
Succubus.
succubus and poltergeist.
Poltergeist as well. That's
Yeah.
right, in the rectory in
Yes.
Lincolnshire. That's right. Now, you've got a grave through here, haven't
Right,
you?
yes.
Which is really quite frightening, to say the least. Okay, now, and I remember it's through here, isn't it? Now, did you dig this out, John?
No, archaeologists dug it out.
Right.
The first night in the Ram, 40 years ago, my wife and I were in bed here, and
Yeah.
my 3 daughters up that end. I was grabbed by the hands and pulled out the bed.
Good
I
grief.
thought, well, what the hell have I bought for that to happen? So along comes a diviner, water diviner, because of a secret tunnel from the church opposite into the fireplace over there,
Right.
and goes to the abbey.
Hmm.
And he investigated this for me here. He said, John, you've got bodies under your bed.
Oh, my God.
And here's a photograph here of him.
Oh, yes,
on
this is the
actual
chap, is it?
state. No, that one there is
Gosh.
Professor Warren, Professor of Archaeology at Cambridge University,
Yes.
who said this is a major find.
Yes.
And he's called the Gloucester Museum director to come and do more digging.
Right.
But he's never been. Well, there he is, telling me I got bodies. Archaeologists digging under
That's this hole.
yeah.
Wow.
And the bones of 3 children came up,
Yeah.
which the police took away. I've never seen them since.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing that came up with that was broken daggers.
Oh, this.
Yes. Now, when
Yeah,
broken daggers...
sacrificial.
Yes, that's right. Now,
Ah.
in the Bible, I'm not... Please don't think I'm telling you, pushing religion.
No, no.
The first chapter of the Bible, God tests Abraham's faith. Take your son Isaac and sacrifice him.
Yeah.
Halfway up the mountain, because they used to do that sort of thing.
I know they did.
And they even threw their babies on bonfires.
Yeah.
The son says, Dad, here's the knife, here's the fire,
Yeah.
Here's the wood on my back, where's the ram? Now,
Yeah,
where's the
yeah,
lamb?
yeah, yeah.
Because Christ is called the Lamb of God. And Abraham says God will provide himself with a lamb on top. Well, he doesn't know he's going to be sacrificed. He ties him up, just about to plunge the dagger into his son, and the angel stops him and says, stop this. And when Abraham turns round, what does he see caught by his horns?
A ram.
A ram.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the name of
Ancient
this place?
ram.
Hey. Don't you find that spooky?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. But so you believe that the children that were down here were
There's
actually
there's
sacrificed?
a lot more children under here to be dug up.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere, children.
Wow. Now, there's more through here, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. Lead on.
Now, where this basket is,
Yeah.
the puddle keeps occurring, and
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was always fascinated by this puddle.
Yeah.
Well, along comes. I'm not sure if it's the same diviner, but they said you've got a body there.
Oh.
This is the blue lady who was murdered in here by highwaymen
Yes.
200 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's appeared 4 times over the last 6 months, immediately above there, where she has always been seen for 200 years. And I've
grief.
seen her.
Now, you know when this used to be an inn?
Yeah.
Obviously it was the ancient ram inn. Did people report ghostly goings on?
I'm sure they did, but I
Oh, you
didn't
weren't
get
here
to
then,
know.
of course.
It was shut when I bought it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I never knew it was a pub.
Right. Have you seen the Blue Lady?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. This is amazing, isn't it? Hey, what about through there? More?
Right, this room is called the men's kitchen, by the way,
Yeah.
because the carpenters and masons who built the church you see today ate and drank in here, and that's why the bishops of Gloucester bless it.
Good Lord.
The American flag's flying here because the most famous of all the Pilgrim Fathers and the owner of the Mayflower were Wootton under Edgemen.
Good grief.
That's where the drink was served.
Yes, yeah.
Don't
And
you say
then
that?
through here's a bar, isn't it, John?
Yes.
It used to be the bar, is that right? Oh, Mayflower Barn.
The barn,
Yeah.
I call it the Mayflower Barn in memory of Stephen Hopkins. Now, up the top end there is where orbs last week appeared in the floor, which
Yeah.
I've never seen before. A little, dear little orbs flashing about. That's children.
Literally in the floor.
Buried. This is full of children. And it's waiting to be dug up by the Bristol archaeological people.
Wow.
This is a cellar here.
Under there?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now tell me, the most haunted part, to be honest with you.
Every part's haunted.
Oh, yeah, but isn't the worst bit the bedrooms upstairs? The
Bishop's room. 9 people, to my knowledge, have had to be exorcised after a night in there. And the last one was the time Cora.
Oh, when Derek Acora
Yeah,
came here?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can we have a look at that?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great.
Here's where the ghost appears on the stairs and throws people up.
Not down?
No,
Up.
always up. And there's the people who took it.
Yeah.
There's John Wesley's haunted picture there.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. Look at the stairs, though. Aren't they amazing? I see you've got your ram here.
Yeah.
This is beautiful, isn't it, in here? What a lovely room.
Well, this is the witch's room. She appears on the bed here. I've seen her with cats and dogs that pee on the bed, you see.
Oh, yeah.
And also she stands there, and a crippled girl appears here and waves to passers-by.
Really? From people see her out when they're
Yeah.
outside?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You might be interested to know that Poldark, some of Poldark was filmed here.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. I remember that. I used to
Yeah.
watch that. Fantastic
Did
programme.
you make it in? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I said to the BBC, hang on, this is supposed to be Cornwall. And they said, what, the weather in Cornwall?
And through to the Bishop's
Yeah.
room?
I'll show you something here which is absolutely unique.
Where's my
You
glasses?
see the scratch marks in here?
Yes.
That is the oldest game in the world, called Nine Men's Morris. The builders of the churches used to play on that game.
Yes.
Now Gloucester Cathedral have one, and they've been telling everybody, we have the only game.
Yeah.
So I went to see them recently. I said, you got this game? Oh yes, we're very proud.
Yeah.
You show it to me. I said, how old is your game? They said 1300. I said, well, I got news for you. You're not the only one. If you come to my place, you'll see another one. And mine's 200 years older than yours.
Good
1100, that is.
Isn't that amazing?
All the stonework came from the Abbey. Now,
Right.
would you believe, have you heard of Sir Arthur Evans, Dame Joan Evans
Yes.
of
Yeah.
Knossos?
Yeah.
Dame Joan Evans was my good friend. Her brother was Sir Arthur Evans, who saved Knossos on Crete.
Good grief.
And had they known that game was there,
Yes.
this building would never ever want for money to save it, because I get nothing.
No.
English heretics don't give a damn for it.
Never mind, you're not doing so bad. You're certainly telling your story, aren't you?
This wall here is 1,000 years old, according to the experts.
Look at the old wattle and daubs. from
Yes.
there. Wow.
My first deeds are in Norman French.
Good grief.
Old Norman French, dating back to William the Conqueror. There's a clock there where a face appears.
What?
in
On the
clock.
face of
Yeah,
the clock?
I got a photograph of that.
Good grief. And the Bishop's room, if I remember,
Here.
is just here on the right-hand side.
Right. Now what we have to do here, we have to get permission to go in here.
Right?
Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here? What's been happening here all the time I've been here is this. I'm
Good
the only one in the
God.
building, and it's ruined the lock.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
come with your camera, please, up here. I want you
God,
to
blimey.
film in there as soon as the door opens, and hopefully you should be getting lots of orbs. Get right up close to the door.
Ready?
Stay there a minute and see what the camera catches. Most fearsome room. You'll notice stab marks in the beds. That's where devil worshippers are coming here and stabbing the beds. Look at everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, if you look up the chimney, I put that there for people to kneel on.
Yeah.
There's a hole up there.
Yeah, that's what... Oh, yes. Just here on the left.
What I found there, 40 years ago when I unblocked it, was a little round block of wood,
Yes.
like that thick, with a piece cut out and one nail. That's witchcraft.
Oh, yeah.
And witchcraft are very strong here. There's witch covens all round Wootton Under Edge and in this area.
Really?
But the most frightening thing, that was resting on a dear little horseshoe.
Yes.
And that is devil worship.
Have you still got it?
Yes.
Have you really?
I can show it to you when we go down.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
like.
Well, I'd love to see that.
Right.
Now, tell me, what happens? Because I know people spend the night here. You get ghost hunters coming here. What sort of things happen
In the
to people
corner
in
where
here?
the dressing table is,
Yeah.
that is where a cavalier appears. Now, in the reign of Charles I and Cromwell came and stayed on top of the hill, and the king's forces here, big battles took place. There was Berkeley Castle, where you're
Yes,
going.
indeed. Yeah.
Beverston Castle, Gloucester City, Bristol, all very strong big battles around here. One of them died in there, and that's where his ghost appears.
Good
Here,
Lord.
2 monks appear, walking up and down,
Yeah.
arms folded, and they walk through the corner here, where
Yes.
there's a blocked up priest hole.
Oh, indeed. As you can see here, where
Yeah.
yes, indeed. And that was a priest hole.
Yeah.
That's- So do you think one of them, perhaps, or they both died in
There
there?
might be, there could be somebody
up-
blocked up in there, for all I know.
Oh boy! Do you know, John? I kid you not. You know, you deserve a medal.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
mean it for 40 years of taking this place over and preserving it, because this place is actually full of English history.
It is.
And without history and ghosts, there is nothing. Ghosts and history go together.
That's right. Ever since Adam and Eve, there must have been ghosts.
Yeah, this place, in my opinion, is an absolute institution. And you, sir, you've done a fantastic job preserving
One
it
more thing
for the
to
nation.
show you is the roof. Now, when historical people come here, they go raving mad over my roof. It's supposed to be the oldest roof in Britain.
Well,
and
come
see
on then,
that.
show me.